Welcome to the Raj Smriti show. This is our special series on International Women's Day, and today we have with us Dr. Vandana Sehgal, Principal and Dean, APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University. Welcome to the show, ma'am. It's an honor having you. And to begin with, tell us about your journey, how was your childhood? What kind of little girl you were? What dreams you had at that point of time?
So my father was in the civil services in the Haryana cadre, and we stayed in Chandigarh for most of my life. And so we were three sisters, and so somehow in my house, my father was this, very literary person, although he was in the services, but still he was a very, very literary person. So we have grown up reading, books to him, and by the time we were in class 10 or 9th or maybe in even 11th, 12th, we used to read all the full novel.
The classics, the classics and Dickens that we talk about.
Yes. So he was an English literature person. So that is why our leaning was towards that. So, I have read War and Peace with him. I have read, amazing philosophy-based novels like Jean-Paul Sartre and all. So it was like, so in the evening, there was he didn't have a social life. We were his social life.
Wow.
And so we used to sit together, and he would take out articles from the newspaper, and he would tell my younger sister to read any political this thing. And if there was something creative, he would tell me to read and all that. And so our, and he has taken us out for this Bharat, he drove once for 1 month.
Wow.
And
you've done cross country kind of a thing.
From Chandigarh to Kanyakumari and back.
Wow, lovely.
So in his own car, in a Fiat. And in a time when there were no mobiles that you can say, where are we staying, what are we doing? There was no tourism industry, which was flourishing.
It was those times when you ask somebody to stop and tell them, "Bhaiya, ye kahan jana hai? Yahan jana hai. Yahan pe pahunchana." No Google.
I still remember he had these maps of India, which they were in broken pieces, and he actually marked our itinerary. And so he actually wrote a letter. So it took about 6 months of preparation. In summer, he started writing to all the DMs that, okay, we'll come, and you please reserve these 2 rooms for us in the guest house or circuit house or whatever. It was like amazing, and how we did that in 1 month. We started on 1st December. So I have seen India through his eyes and through, actually going there.
And the people's eye, I would say, the local people.
And we were very young. We were like 8th. I was in class 8th and all. And then once he took us to Lakshadweep. Once he took us to Andamans. So, he has done all that with us. And so I think our upbringing has been this very, very, enriching, I would say.
And literary.
And there was no, compromise in his mind about our performance. So it was never said, but it was understood that you have to top the class. You have to perform. You have to make a career before thinking of getting married. He says everybody gets married. So what's the deal? So what are you doing with your life? So it was a unwritten given in our mind. So I think that was what I think made us what we are.
A wholesome childhood, I would say, wherein I think the seeds of women empowerment were laid right then and there.
Yeah, so I think my father, he was in the services, although he was from a very small village and from a very small community in Rajasthan. And I think he grew himself, he actually taught himself to, he was a performer and he came in the IAS. But my mom, she didn't have that kind of exposure. Okay. She did her graduation after she got married. And I think when we were in class 4 or 5, she did her graduation. But she also grew with us, She didn't have this, she had this another concept. She says, look, I don't want you to have my complexes. Just I meet other wives and I want to speak in English, because that was the done thing that time, and it was a status symbol. And she says, I don't want you to have that, diffidence in meeting anybody. So she made us go to the best convent school, and she would expect that my girls are, will perform the best. So there were these combinations. She was always there for us. I mean, my friends used to say, you get garam pulka when you come home, and she used to cook herself. We didn't have servants, So it was an amazing dedication to her children. We were her world, and so we were a world to our father also. But my father had another world of his, his own performance. But she I think she wanted to live life through us.
Very true.
She went very early. She went about 20 years back. But she actually dreamt whatever we achieved.
Very true. I think even my mother was from a Hindi medium, but when I was growing up, it was mandatory in her mind that, my daughter will go to a convent school. I have not learned English, but all my kids would learn English, come what may, whether it's a son or a daughter. So that's the kind of legacy and thought process we carry from our parents. So you are in the field of architecture. You have done extensive work in the field, and you're also teaching. You are heading the institution. Was architecture in your mind right from the start, or how did this field happen to you?
So my Nana was an architect.
Oh wow!
So he worked with Corbusier, and he retired as senior architect in Haryana, and I used to see him draw, and I was very good in drawing
and all.
from when I was very small also. But it was, I think I was not the child who knew what she had to do. Or I wanted to, because in that time becoming a computer engineer was the thing.
Everyone is going to US.
Yeah, I wanted to, I think, become that somehow. And but we were kind of shifting a lot. That time my father was shifted to Delhi, then he came back. So it was like a transition period for us. So I couldn't get through the IIT because I think I messed up my chemistry paper back then.
Okay.
A physics paper. But I got admission in the architecture college. So I was really happy at that moment because I wanted to be a professional. Although my father wanted me to appear in the IAS, which he was disappointed because I didn't want to. But anyway, it was a very fruitful thing because once I got into it, I realized it was just made for me because I think it had right amount of technical know-how that is needed to understand space, and at the same time there was this touch of creativity and the artistry, so I really I think took to it really well, and I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I'm still enjoying. I'm so glad I became an architect. Yeah.
Wow. So did you have many girls in your class at that point of time? Was it a popular thing between girls?
Yes. It was. We were about, I think, 1/3 of our class, but 3 years later, there were more girls in one batch than the boys.
Wow.
Somehow, but it was in our college, on the whole, it was 50%.
Okay. So it was a growing field and women were taking it up as a profession.
Yes. I think it's a lot of women come in it, although, and now especially more, but it's always 50% in our case. Yeah.
So when you started working, did you face any challenges? Was it a male-dominated field in the professional world, or it was kind of again 50-50? It is a male-dominated.
All professions. It is generally male-dominated. So I was seeing somebody's interview, Smriti Irani's interview. Somehow it just came, and she says that I walked in when she was heading the education ministry, and I came into a meeting room, and I had called all the senior scientists, and I was so surprised that there was not even a single female. I said, where are the women? Are there no women scientists? So I agree, there is a general bias in every field, which is lessening. But not yet. Not yet. I don't think so.
Long time to go.
And when I came, I was the first woman teacher here.
Wow.
Okay? And later on, another person came. But now we have got lots. I think people tell me that I'm biased towards women. And I wanted to put it on record also that I think women are very good workers. And but all said and done, I never faced any
challenges
or
gender
per se,
biases.
because I think academics is something, which is less it is somehow equal, because academics is something, it doesn't demand something physical, something,
Right,
so it's
right.
basically brain related, so you can perform if you're sincere.
And opportunities are there, especially in colleges
it's
and
similar,
institutions.
this thing. So I don't think there is any real challenge in academics for women, but in the field, yes, because जो जैसे मैं बात करती हूँ, lot of women are working as architects, and so they really have to prove themselves that they are good in the site. So the ठेकेदार, for example, will, if they're husband-wife team, he will talk to the man.
True.
He will not consider. She says sometimes, like one of my students, she says, "Ma'am, sometimes I go myself because he's doing something else and it's my project." They will say कि साहब नहीं आए, so there is this mindset that we have to deal with, and but one just smiles, and there are times when your bosses will just in a big meeting, they will ignore you, or in a very subtle way, so these
the
things
glass ceiling.
There might not be a glass ceiling sometimes there is definitely a glass ceiling, but it's about giving a voice to you. So I have realized that very, very senior academicians also, they have this, there is I have realized that it's nothing to do with it's a personal thing,
It's more of a bonding also, I feel. Men to men, they bond with certain things.
But I have seen many men who are so natural, they are not threatened. Some men are threatened by
your existence.
I don't know why. It's and a woman can get it immediately. I mean, it might not be very apparent to others.
Right.
But you know that you have been slighted, or you have been cut away from the conversation, or very simple thing that you are senior to somebody, but the man is given preference in a very subtle way, So you deal with these things maybe on and off, but one tends to ignore it and move ahead, because I think you're bigger than that.
Very true, very true. So coming to your, assignments, if we talk about, do you have any special or very close to heart kind of a thing, that something that you will cherish always?
So in terms of architecture, so I don't practice personally, but I practice. We have a consultancy cell in the college, and a lot of government projects we are doing, and most of them are very planning and research oriented, because we are an academic institute. But some of the design projects we have done are very, very beautiful. We have done this extension of the Mahanagar archives, and it was like, I think, one of our most, the spatial quality and all is very, very beautiful. And currently, I think we are doing, we've got this project to redo the crematoriums of Lucknow, which we are really excited about. And I think it's a
very different kind of project as well.
Also.
And emotional.
It's emotional. Thing. It's sometimes scary, sometimes because like for example, the site, we had to do the site survey. So 2 people refused that they will not do the site survey. They will not go there. So it is sometimes challenging also, but we have got very beautiful ideas, and I think I'm very excited about that. And we did a very beautiful, in the planning project, we did tourism master plan of Naimisharan.
Oh, wow.
So that is also very close to our heart, because I think such spaces kind of, you relate to them from
your
the
soul
heart.
Connects
soul
to such
connects
kind of
to
places.
Such places. And it really was beautiful. I think we've gone 2-3 times to Naimisharan in the process, and उससे पहले मैं कभी गई नहीं थी. I was very surprised that we were so near, and all these years I had never gone. So it was an opportunity, and a very beautiful one. And apart from that, I do my own kind of research in terms of I'm researching or maybe trying to find what Kashi is. And since I've become the dean, it's very difficult for me to find time. But before that, I used to go to Kashi almost every 2-3 months, and I've documented the Panchkroshi there, and I'm like, it, I think, gives you, so in the process, I think it changes you from within.
Yes.
And you kind of find newer
versions of
aspects
yourself.
of yourself and newer versions of yourself. And so in those 3 years, I think I evolved a lot, and started relating to mythology, starting related to the Puranas, and it amazes me to see that there is a connect which is visible, tangible in 2000 years, because 2000 साल पहले लिखी गई थी, and आज तक materially it is there. That temple. So if they say that around the Panchkroshi Yatra, which is a kind of a 5-mile radius circle around Kashi, and that is Kashi. So you go along this, you walk along it, and there are 108 temples around it,
Oh, wow.
Some big and small. They're still there, and they're all mentioned in the Puranas, which was written 2000 years back. So I feel that there is such a continuity in our kind of cultural and religious aspects of living, which we never realize, and so sometimes I talk to people from Banaras, they also don't know about it. So what that's why I'm documenting it, and I want to write this book one day, and it is halfway, but it's in the process. So I want to tell people how there is this amazing thread of continuity that we inherit.
True.
And so what I'm trying to say is that through my work, through my research, through my creativity, one evolves not only as a professional but also internally.
Very true. And as you were talking about your childhood, that time you were exposed to maybe the English literature giants, the Dickens and Wordsworth, and now you are coming back to your Indian roots. And if we talk about India, the kind of books that we have had, the kind of things. So it's like now we are going back to that, we are rediscovering things which we were way more advanced in those eras. So coming again to that, if we talk about women empowerment, which again I feel India was very empowered 2000, 5000 years back. The position of women, we treated goddesses, we prayed to them, women were like goddesses to us, which no other religion perhaps has. And then we lost it somehow, and again we are trying to revive that lost glory of women and empowerment. What is your take on women empowerment?
So, all these on 8th को हमको याद आता है
true
8th March को कि हमको women को celebrate करना है. So I feel it's a misnomer, kind of, I'm not being cynical about it, but as a, so जितनी भी मेरे को बहुत invites आते हैं कि हम अब there is a women गोष्ठी यहाँ पर, हम यहाँ women को award दे रहे हैं और ये कर रहे हैं, वो कर रहे हैं, all that. Then I tell them, the day in that goshti, there's not a single woman, only men are discussing women empowerment, that day we will change.
True.
So if women discussing women empowerment doesn't make a, cut for me, I am very clear about that, because I feel I am blessed that I had a father who thought that, okay, your 3 daughters, fine, but they are not less than anybody for me,
True.
So he gave us that you can perform as well, So my second sister, she's in the IAS. She was in the IAS, now she resigned and she's joined the Asian Development Bank. My youngest sister is an economist. She's with the World Bank in Washington.
Wow.
So, all 3 sisters, he actually gave us that intrinsic thing that you are no less than anybody.
You were nurtured in that way. The wings were given to you right from the start.
Right from the start. So I feel if there are more men like him, whatever has happened in our lives, he was standing like a rock behind us. That your happiness is important to me.
Lovely.
Nothing else is important. I don't care what the society says. So I think if we have men like him who nurture daughters like that, and who maybe, have men who let their wives be,
Right.
who give them the space to perform, to shine and not get affected by it.
True.
I think that is when, because we are not in competition.
Yeah. We can never compete. There's no point of competition.
So we are made differently by God, and we have our own space and they have their own space. So
True.
there's no competition. But it's that acknowledgement of the fact that, yes, they can also be somewhere in society. They can also have a say. They can also think for themselves.
True.
And they don't have to look at, for permission for very small things,
Right.
So I feel women empowerment is not about going and shining and doing something out on the stage. It is about the fact that today I want to do this and I will do this without having that qualm that who will say that, will he give me the permission? So I feel that is the thing where, for me, woman empowerment is just about myself, that if whatever I want to do, can I do it?
Right. And as you mentioned, your father giving you that kind of upbringing, same goes with your mother.
Yes.
What she couldn't do, she wanted you all to achieve, and she gave you that platform, that comfort, that home to do that. Many a times we as women, we tend to compare that हमें अपने बचपन में ऐसा नहीं मिला था, तो हमारी बेटी को भी यही करना चाहिए जो मैंने किया है. So that also, and then again women have soft corner for their sons. They would not, want their sons to do things. कि भाई बेटा किचन में नहीं जाए, बेटा घर का काम नहीं करे. But
so in our case, we were three sisters, so there was no comparison per se. But I feel my youngest sister, she wanted to go abroad and study. She wanted to go to London School of Economics. She had got admission, but they were not giving her scholarship, and so my father was this thing that, okay, because he had saved something for my wedding, for my sister's
wedding, yeah.
So he says, whatever money I've left is for her wedding, whatever little he had. So my second sister, she went to him and says, Papa, if you had a son, would you have thought about it? He said, okay, I'll let her go.
Right.
So he spent all that money on her then, okay, it's her money, let her perform, let her do what she wants to do,
True.
So it's about, it's about understanding that what is your aspiration also, so if somebody is sensitive enough for that, I think that is also a great thing.
Very true, very true.
So I always feel we live in a symbiotic society. So if everybody understands that, okay, it just because she's a woman, ye nahi hoga, so that is a bit...
that sensitivity, that understanding, love, care, and the whole thing that, it's about your happiness. If you're happy doing it, just do it, no matter about the, money or whatever things that comes in the picture. So, what next? You've lived a very wholesome life, your childhood, your youth, your married life. All said and done, it's been a lovely journey, and you're empowering other people as well through your talks, through your works. You get to meet so many students for whom you're always a role model. And here I would like to mention, when I started Folktales and when I started writing in 2016, within 3-4 months, it was just a freelance thing. I would just write my blog with a picture. It would go on the page. So the first award, which I had never thought that for writing you get an award, and it was like a fun thing, that was given by you at the Shiro's Cafe on 16 November by IYF. So that was my first award, and I was like, you are giving me an award. You were so much, celebrated in Lucknow, in the city, and I was like, my first award came through you, so that would always remain very special. And like me, many people look up to you, and they want to live life like you, the big way, the bigger picture. So what is the kind of message you would like to give to, the youth, the boys, the girls? What is it that they should do to make a happy living?
So I feel about this coming generation, I've been teaching for so long, and my children have grown up, and so it's, so what I feel about this current generation is that somehow there is the distinction between a girl and boy is gone almost.
Yeah.
They treat each other as human beings.
Very true.
More or less. And it's amazing. I think that is the first step. And I'm very hopeful of this generation where women equality or men-women equality is concerned. Because, when I see my students when they're with each other and they're talking to each other, or they're even working together or playing together, they don't have that, we had this divide in our mind. They don't have that divide in their mind.
Right.
And they can discuss anything. So there are no barriers in terms of कि ये आप इसके सामने बोल सकते हो या नहीं बोल सकते, which is gone.
Right.
And we might think that कि उनको वो ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए, girls should behave like this in front of them. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है उनके दिमाग में. So I feel it's a very positive thing. And maybe because the moment it goes from the mind, you will start treating your partner with that equality, and which is coming in this generation. I see there is a lot of equality in terms of a lot of financial equality. There is a lot of chores equality. किसने क्या काम करना है, हाँ. So बहुत छोटी-छोटी चीजें हैं ये, but they kind of determine how a woman is treated.
Very true.
So I have a lot of hope, and I have also that I think they are going in the right direction, and where women and men relationship is concerned, they might be little outgoing, they might be little open about a lot of things, but I think that is the fallout of this, So sometimes I'm little taken aback, but then I then look at the positive side, then look at them. They are a different kind of mindset, which I am not, And I'm sometimes really, really thankful that this generation, and it's not only in Delhi or even in Lucknow, because I see my students, every day. So I think that's a very, very positive sign, and I think it should continue. And because ये लगता है कि हमको कि हम women as a society हम बहुत कुछ change कर सकते, वो अपने आप बदलाव आता है. Right. I think वो आ रहा है बदलाव.
Everyone doing their bit, छोटा-छोटा करते से वो change हो जाता है.
So वो भी हो रहा है, बहुत अच्छा हो रहा है. And women are achieving greater heights, and they are going into professions which were never thought of before. Yes. And they are taking up jobs at night, day, So I think there is a visible difference. Very and true. I am hoping that in the next 5 years, at least I'll see that change.
Yeah, so rightly said, society is also gearing up. We are giving that kind of platform, that stage to women to come out of their homes, manage things. So, when we talk about these little changes, everyone has to pitch in to bring out that difference. One person doing it will not make that change, or the society will not evolve overnight. So few changes or few suggestions that you have for women out there who are in their comfort zone, who can work but they are not working, they are not need of financial thing, that's why they are kind of laid back, or whatever as a society each one of us should do to get away with this whole women empowerment concept and be just like men. We don't celebrate men empowerment, So how do we reach to that kind of world?
So I think ये भी कि I find some women who are very contented, they are happy. मतलब उनको they don't think कि हमें कुछ करना है बाहर जाके. They are so content in nurturing, which is also a beautiful thing.
Very true.
So I am nothing. I am very proud of them, and I think they're doing the best. What they're happy in. So for me, it is not about going out and working.
Yeah.
It is about being happy. It's about finding yourself. It is about having the confidence and the power to do what you really want to do.
Right.
So it is not about, I cannot measure what I think as success with other persons.
Very
so everybody
true.
has their own idea about what life should be, and they should be free to live it the way they want to,
True.
But the choice should be theirs.
Right.
That's what my
So rightly summarize that, not everyone should be pushed to work.
No.
You are working anyways. Managing a home is
it's a
big task.
So
managing
underrated.
children is like,
Totally.
children are 20-year projects. You can't just get away with them right there.
So the only fallback of that is when the children go out, fly the nest. They go out, obviously after 22, 23, they will go out and work. you
True.
know. So then they feel, then women somehow lose that focus कि अब हम क्या करें?
Correct.
You know what to do now. So उनके लिए मैं जरूर ये कहती हूँ कि आप कुछ नहीं, आप एक कैनवस उठा के दो पेंट कर लीजिए, आप कुछ जो आपको, आप डांस करिए, आप एम्ब्रॉयडरी करिए, आपको जो अच्छा लगता है, आपको लगता है कि आप 2 बच्चों को पढ़ा सकते हैं, आप उनको बुला के आप उनको ट्यूशन करिए, ट्यूशन भी पैसे भी ना लीजिए, आप करवाइए काम. सो व्हाट आई फील इज दैट इट you have to engage yourself constructively and so उसका fallout ये है because I have lot of friends who जिनके बच्चे सब चले गए हैं, so they kind of feel कि अब करें क्या, so that is, so that you have to find your way, you know, but it should be your choice what to do.
So the choice and the choice to be happy in whichever situation you are and whatever you are doing. It was lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for coming to our show and hope to see bigger projects. Good luck for your book. Hope to read it soon.
Thank you. Inshallah someday. Thank you.